much work did you put into this helmet here?
A lot. I spent a lot of hours working on it.
It's of the one of the guys from Yogg's cast, I understand, Honeydew.
Yep.
So what made you choose Honeydew?
Well, I like to watch the videos, and I was thinking about it for a while, and he was supposed to do a creeper with me, but it ended up, I started to make this, and then it was nearing the end of my time to make it, and I just decided to stick with it. I really like it anyway, so like that.
Yeah. You are steampunk pirate captain?
Yes, sir.
That's it. Pretty cool outfit. How long did it take you to make that?
Different parts took different times. I mean, this sword setup was about 3 months. The rest of it cobbled together within about 2 weeks.
Fantastic. Was it an original character, or is it just a steampunk outfit? Or?
It's an original character. It used to be a role-playing character that I had, and I just incorporated it. Nobody knows who it is but me, but that's how it goes sometimes.
Looks cool.
Thank you very much.
Oh.
So right now your brakes are locked. Trigger button back here, just hit it and let it go. Your brakes are off. This is your throttle, which you lift up, full throttle, right up all the way. Full power. We'll start to roll. Once you get some speed up, it's very sensitive, so be careful. Gently pull back on the stick. You can orientate yourself. You can see the bridges. This is very sensitive, so very little movement on the stick flies it.
Yeah.
Now you're on your own.
You are?
Jim Leger.
And did you create this Millennium Falcon flight program?
The main program is Microsoft Flight Simulator 10. The Falcon was designed by a third-party person who built it and put it on a website. And people can go in and download it from the website into the flight simulator, which is what we did.
Yeah.
So we brought it here because this spacecraft is probably one of the best known from Star Wars. So it attracts a lot of attention, and it's fun to fly.
And this is for the Aviation
Shearwater
Museum?
Aviation Museum. They're sponsoring a flight simulator group, which we're forming now, and we're going to link in with groups in New Brunswick and across Canada, and flight sim, so young kids can learn to fly, or adults can learn to fly, or just get in an airplane and fly around the world.
Right on.
Oh yeah.
Fantastic. Cool.
And I'm really, really happy to be back at Hal-con again. I was here with AJ last year and back with AJ and Cynthia this year. And it's been a great con so far. And it's about to get even better. Really cool to have our next guest up here. We're going to waste no time and bring him right out. But if you know him from his roles in films like Demon Island or The Portal, or TV shows like Private Practice or Without a Trace, or perhaps you know him from a little role in a show called Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Please welcome Brendon. They are good viewers.
Not my first time in Halifax.
What do you think? Second time better?
Well, the first time was great. I shot a movie here, and I was here for like 7 weeks. So I was walking around the town today, and I'm like, after 5 days, you kind of get,
Yeah.
Like I don't gamble, and I found myself at the casino. I rented a car. I had a long weekend, and I drove out to is it PTI? What's that island called?
Oh, PTI.
So I saw a bunch of potatoes. And I stayed on a golf course. I remember I didn't even leave the hotel room. I just watched a bunch of Orson Welles films.
Great golfer, PTI.
I don't golf either.
Great Orson Welles.
But I was thinking about taking it up,
About your first exposure to the role of Xander, how you came across the pilot script, and
It's not like it's like a disease. When you got exposed to it, I had to take Valtrex,
I read though that you were attracted to the role because you actually didn't like school. Is that true?
No, I was attracted to the role because they hired me.
That's
I know. At that point in my life, it was just, I was happy to get a job,
Yeah.
It was my last audition of that particular pilot group. So I was just, it was one of those things where you're just so fortunate that it was the first thing I really had to book. And then for it to be that show,
Yes.
it's pretty awesome.
What were your initial impressions of the character? Because what we'll get into is complex, an insider is also an outsider. What did you think of him?
I thought he was like a cute nerd, Just, because it was like, in the pilot, like I think the audition scene that I had, there was two, but one of them was the scene where it's like, hey, where I'm kind of flirting with Buffy, and it's like, hey, you forgot your stink. So that was actually my audition side. So it was, I didn't really, when you're acting like that, they don't really give you the script, they just give you sides and stuff, so I just thought he was, he was really kind of, he said some really funny stuff, and I just did.
Did y'all think he's a cute nerd?
So, who are you and what are you doing here at Hal-con?
I am John Hillman, aka J.A. Slade, which really flows horribly when you say it like that. And I am here at Hal-con to promote my new ebook, Muse.
And what is that about?
It is about a 400-year-old, artistic model who back during the Baroque period used to be sort of the talk of Europe, and she was unfortunately turned into a vampire back then, so she spent the last 400 years sort of roaming the earth and finding great new artistic minds to develop sort of as a muse, that's the title. So recently she's kind of grown tired of big city life because the fashion industry, the art industry in general, sort of trended towards the heroine chic, emaciated look, and she's much more Rubenesque in her figure, so she's decided to settle down in Halifax and live a more low-key life. But while she's here, she finds this gentleman in a garage band, and she thinks he may be the next Jimi Hendrix or Mozart, so unfortunately, just at that moment, an ex-lover, Ludwig von Beethoven, is sort of reanimated, comes back from the dead looking for vengeance because he feels she abandoned him 200 years ago. So all hell breaks loose, and morbid, bloody humor ensues.
Right on. So it's an ebook. And how do people find this ebook?
You can go to Amazon.com and look up Muse by J.A. Slade. It should pop up. Sort of probably the first search, I hope. Or you can go to my Smashwords website, which has all the different formats for any possible e-reader that you may have, but unfortunately it's probably a bit too long to read out.
All right.
in this situation. So you can check out my
I'll
blog.
get it from you, and then I'll just stick it on here as a sub. So little sub link. All right, cool. Thanks. Alan Curtis of NGen Books. How's it going?
It's going well.
How was this weekend at Hal-con?
This weekend's been really, really great. We've been doing really good sales. We're reaching a lot of fans, so I'm excited to be here and very, very happy to see everyone who's coming.
Cool. So, was it better than last year, or is it just as good?
It's definitely better than last year. They're just upping the ante. We've got a very, very high energy crowd here, and it's been great.
So, any new titles on your table today or this
We
weekend?
have Inner Child by Mathew, which we launched this weekend. And we also have Big Funny, which is the book directly before Inner Child, which we launched back in April. So we've expanded the Black Room series, so anyone who picked all of them up last year, we have 2 new books to add to the Black series.
Right on. Any new titles coming up in the next year?
We are hoping to get a second Infinity novel out for next October. It's still tentative, but we are going to try and push for an October.
Right on. And last year you guys had some openings for people to send in books. And
we still got submissions addressed. It's submissions at enginebooks.com. Engine is E-N-G-E-N. And you can reach us there. All we require is either a short story, or if you're submitting a novel, the first 15,000 words, a short biography, and a short synopsis of your work. And we'll take a look at it if you send it along.
Mathew LeDrew of NGen Books, the author of Black Bloom and its sequel.
It's many sequels.
Many sequels. How was this year at Hal-con?
Hal-con was amazing this year. We had a slow first day a little bit, but it seems like people are a bit tighter with their money, but we had a phenomenal second day. We sold out of the first book and many others, and a lot of people came back. Writing panels were awesome. Everything was awesome. Hal-con is always awesome. At its worst day, it is still the greatest thing I do all year.
And you got 2 new books this year.
Yes, one was released last April at Sci-Fi on the Rock. And one was released today called Inner Child, which is sort of a new arc. So for anyone who wants to read the series and doesn't want to start from book 1, that's the way to go. You can get a fresh start with book 8, as weird as that sounds.
Alan Curtis told me that you guys have an Infinity sequel planned for later this year.
Yeah, we certainly do have an Infinity sequel planned. We are tentatively planning to release it at Hal-con 3. You didn't hear that from me, because we're not done writing it yet, so there's always a chance that something else will come up, so that's not an official announcement yet. But we're really hoping to have it released for next one. Because we released Infinity, the first one last year, we kind of associate Infinity with Hal-con, so we're going to try to always release them at Hal-con. It's a sequel to many things, actually. As weird as it is, where all our books take place in the same universe, it is somehow, and I'll let my readers figure this out in the next year, it is somehow a sequel to Infinity, of course. It is a sequel to Ellen Curtis's short story from Compendium called The Tourniquet Revival. It is also a sequel to Black Bloom Book 4. That's a very strange mix of things. It ties together a lot of different elements from the Engine universe, and yet we still think it's going to be very accessible and a very exciting read, because last book in Infinity, we saw the team come together, and now we're going to see what they do in action, which should be great.
And so I'm with DC Rhind, author of a number of books. How was your weekend at Hal-con this year?
Awesome.
Awesome?
Or better.
Better? Better than last year?
Oh, absolutely better than last year. Last year was amazing. Last year I was blown away. It's hard to explain to people what it was like, because my first time ever attending a sci-fi con was as a guest. As a guest celebrity. So I had no idea what to expect as someone who would buy a ticket and come, never mind, the way I was being treated. This year I had a little more idea of what to expect, but this year they had gone to a venue. They had learned a lot from last year and managed to do it even. And I would have thought last year nothing could be better other than having more room. But they were much even more organized
this year than they were last year. You know, is the learning process. I imagine that I'm going to be even more impressed next year with what they've learned from this year.
So you're coming back next year?
I'm coming back next year. One of the guest coordinators, Travers Milo, you know, jokingly said that I was invited to 2014.
I understand you have 2 series going on right now, and you got 5th books for both of them coming out soon.
The original series is the fantasy series, the medieval fantasy series, a very action-oriented sort of wizards and warriors kind of storyline, which I started writing a number of years ago when I really got serious about this. It was written over a period of probably about 16 years. So when I then got talked into doing a vampire, and I was published in the States, when I got talked into doing a vampire series and went looking for a new publisher, he found out about the previous series and wanted to do a complete re-release of it. So the final books in those never got published because of some bad blood that came between my publisher at the time. I decided I really couldn't work with them anymore. So the beauty of that was when he started publishing those, I had all 5 in the can ready to go. So the last one in that series will come out in the spring. God knows when the last vampire book will come out, because the 5th one that I will be launching here next fall is finished. I'm writing the 6th one. I think there'll be a 7th.
You just got more ideas and more ideas.
Yeah, it's such a fun genre, especially with the fascinating characters that I've sort of stumbled into, who've acquired lives of their own and find themselves going in interesting directions, that it's very easy to suddenly to come up with a totally different premise for the next book. And it's one of my sticking points is that every time I do a new novel, I want to take it in a different direction. I want to introduce something that was not in any of the other books, to keep the whole thing fresh, but to constantly explore the idea and what can be done with it.
Definitely.
Even before the first issue came out last April, we were approached by a number of Hollywood companies. We continue to be. But Connor and I have decided to continue working on it ourselves. We have a background in film, so we've actually received funding support from Telefilm Canada, here in Canada, Astro Media, and Course Entertainment. They're made with pay fund. So
thanks for your tax dollars. We appreciate that.
This is actually, and that's where your tax dollars went. We actually have finished the first draft of the screenplay, and actually, this is part of a presentation that we delivered to a number of people at the Sundance Institute. 2 weeks ago in the Sundance Resort in Utah, Connor and I sat down and we're involved with the New Frontiers Story Lab by the Sundance Institute. So they kind of identified Kill Shakespeare as a top new potential transmedia franchise, and they want to help us bring it to the next level. So they brought in top screenwriters, video game developers, media, and marketing experts to help us and consult with us over the span of a week. So we met with, for instance, Marty Noxon, who is a writer on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Mad Men, Glee. We met with Richard LeGravenese, who was nominated for an Oscar for The Fisher King, Michael Goldenberg, who wrote Harry Potter 5.
I was in The Fisher King.
You were? Now you're Robin Williams?
No, just a side note.
Just thought you throw that out there. And we also, Michael Goldberg, who also wrote Green Lantern. He came on with 2 months left. 2 months left, people, and the sets were already designed. He was just trying to salvage it. So
name dropping.
I know. How are you? I know Andy Belanger too. Wow, that was.
Wait, you're getting crap for name dropping from Captain Coca-Cola?
Some Kill Shakespeare gear for saying some Shakespearean lines on stage. How did that feel?
It was terrifying. I was pretty excited because I've had that in my head, and obviously it's the stuff that really doesn't matter, the sticks and the stuff that you really need to remember. But anyway, so it was exciting. It was also scary, and the parts where I started messing up, I was terrified, but I got through it mostly, and then I remembered everything when I was done. So. And I got a t-shirt. So.
You got a t-shirt. What t-shirt did you pick up?
It's this nod to Sex Pistols t-shirt.
Nice. Cool. And what costume are you in? Costume?
Yep.
Who are you cosplaying as?
I'm Amy Pond from Doctor Who.
I figured that.
Yeah, there's my doctor over there. Here. Iron pants.
Doctor Who and Amy Pond. Cool. I'm with Munteanu and Vanessa Rottner. And how was your year? How was it?
It's awesome. Oh, this was the best con that I've ever been to. I just want to thank all the wonderful volunteers. And we have the best person right here, Amy. Amy, come over here. She was fantastic. This whole crew, these guys know how to put on a con. I've been to cons all over North America. And honest to God, this size of a con, they pulled it off because of dedication. I know there are many, many layers to a con. There's the part that you see, which is us, and everything's going on, and then there's everything else. And I would also like to say, they're very deep, and there are many layers, and these guys handled it. Everything seemed to run really smoothly, and it did. We know that there are always things that are going on, and they fix them. Everything went really well. We love to come in. But above all, they were so professional, and I know they didn't do all the work. It really was spectacular. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, thank you again. Thanks a lot.
All right, so you are?
I'm Shane Wilson. I am the media relations director for Hal-con, which is a sci-fi fantasy comic book convention in Halifax.
Cool. And so, how has Hal-con been this year?
It has been truly incredibly amazing. Last year we sort of rebooted Hal-con. There's a bit of a history to the name of Hal-con, but we rebooted it with an entirely new board of directors, entirely new volunteers, and we were expecting about 800 people. So really, we're a group of geeks and nerds who were looking for people to pay so we could be geeks and nerds to come and help us bring people in. We were expecting 800 people. We had 1,400 people. This year, we were expecting about 1,800 to 2,000 people. I think we've gone well beyond that. I don't have any numbers because the weekend's not finished yet. But it's just been amazing.
I did hear from a friend of mine that it sounds like you guys sold out your day tickets yesterday?
We did. We sold our day tickets. We also, because we're a not-for-profit, I can tell you this, we broke even on Friday about 2 o'clock. We broke even. So everything that happened, every fan who walked through the doors of this convention paid for a better one next year. So it's really exciting.
So, what are the any plans for next year yet? Or
nothing we can talk about yet, but we've got some stuff in the works. We're already starting our sort of our post-mortem on this year, so we make it better next year. We do that every year. We've got a few guests in the pipeline, but we're not really talking about them yet. We've also, we're really lucky this year, I think it's going to be very exciting for next year, is Aaron Gray was here. And Aaron Gray not only is sort of a geek star from Buck Rogers, she also runs Heroes for Hire, which is the foremost genre booking agent in North America. She absolutely, positively loves us. So she has all the big names, so she's going to go back to California. She's going to tell them that we're a great place to be. We have friendly fans, and our checks don't bounce. Which, let's face it is a business.
Yeah.
And to her, that's what she needs to convince other people to come, maybe at a bit of a discount, because we're a great con. So, I don't know what's going to happen next year. It's we've got a few things in the works, but look for it.
Cool. Fantastic. Thank you very much.
All right. Great.
Okay, this situation basically encapsulates everything that happened this weekend from the professional level. It all worked out in the end. So, as you may have guessed, these are our closing ceremonies. This is the only time I've ever wanted to be booed. That is awesome. Test. There's one more thing that some of you might have paid attention to earlier. This year set a lot of records, including Hal-con's first marriage proposal. Not to take letting due credit away from the other winners, which there is certainly a lot of. But I think, honestly, you guys came out the best. Where are you? Where are you guys? First off, for anybody who doesn't know you, what are your names?
Chris McDonald.
Chris McDonald and Monica Higgins, ladies and gentlemen, our first ever newly engaged couple.